Welcome to Reach the World ASAP. My name is Pastor Scott Griswold, the Associate Director at ASAP Ministries. I'm excited to share with you another story from Cambodia. Church planter So T is naturally shy, but you wouldn't know it. God has helped him to become a friendly, powerful witness for him in the village called Prekliep. About 3 years ago, So T pushed himself to go door to door. In a hut not too far away, he could hear what sounded like a fight. A woman's high pitch droned on and on, while the man every once in a while shouted in his 2 cents worth. An elderly lady whispered to So T, "They're always like that. Nothing but gambling and drinking goes on there." So T decided that he better head right on over there, see what he could do to help. The lady was sure that was not a good idea. "All the neighbors hate them," she said. "Don't waste your time. It won't do any good." But that didn't stop So T. On his first stop, he took time to find out how they were really doing. It turned out the lady had terrible pains in her stomach. "Can't afford to go to the hospital, but it hurts so bad." The husband had a cough and also complained that he didn't have enough money to do anything about it. So T just listened sympathetically. He didn't talk about their drinking or their smoking. But on another visit, he asked them if he could say a prayer so that God could help them to get better. Then he pulled out a lesson from the Light of New Hope series. He showed them some of the illustrations inside and explained a story or two. Then he said, "If you want to get better, I'm confident that studying these lessons an hour or two at a time will really help." They looked surprised. He went on to say, "If you can stop drinking and gambling for a week, you'll feel even better." Did he really believe they would stop? He was praying hard. To his surprise, the next week when he saw them, they said, "We really do feel better." They'd actually gambled and drank a whole lot less. So T decided to invite them to even more. "Why don't you come to worship with our church group this week?" They showed up. The whole church surrounded them and prayed that they would really become a loving, peaceful family. To everyone's surprise, they kept coming to church. A whole month went by. They weren't drinking, they weren't gambling. None of their new friends did. Why should they? They wanted the peace they saw in everybody else. In fact, in just a short time, they asked So T if they could go door to door with him. Can you imagine what the neighbors thought as they saw the power of God change this family? That's the beauty of being a church planter for God. I am so thankful for men and women like So T. Another time, So T and his wife noticed a young lady about 20 years old who would pass by their house every day carrying fruit to sell at the market. So T decided to be friendly. He asked her how she was doing. Apparently, his kindness opened her heart enough that she confided things were not going well at home. Her father drank heavily. Sometimes he would even beat her. Her name? Srena. So T knew there was only one answer to Srena's heartaches. That was Jesus, the Jesus he knows and loves. He had to ask her, "Would you like to know about the God who solved all my problems? Would you like to study the Bible with me on your way to the market?" She agreed and began stopping by almost every day around noon. They started by studying how to have a healthy lifestyle. She began dropping hints to her father about the dangers of smoking and drinking. He finally figured out what she was doing, that she was studying with So T. He was livid. "What do you think you're doing? I sent you to the market to sell and only to sell. What do you mean going to church? Don't ever do it again." However, the mom was listening. "I don't think you should be so hard on her. What she's saying would really help us." Srena kept on going to study with So T. She loved learning about Jesus. Here was a real, genuine love, consistent, trustworthy, perfect in every way. "Can I go to door with you, teacher So T?" This just made her dad angrier than ever. But Mom was noticing the difference. Grandma, too, she started asking questions about her faith. Soon Mother, Grandmother, and her brother had joined her at church. But what about the father? Suddenly occurred to him that the family was wonderfully peaceful like never before. He saw good things happening, and he gave up his drinking, smoking, and gambling and started going to church. Today, Srena is a wonderful help there in that church, and So T stands amazed at the power of prayer. When we last got to interview this special church planter, he was more excited than ever. 6 months before that, I had given him a new set of lessons called Disciples of Jesus. We practiced telling these stories from the Gospels and emphasized the importance of helping the church members go and make disciples too. This is what he said. I love these lessons. The people are excited to learn from them. They say, hey, look, these people look like Cambodians. I can share with the adults. I can use them with children. At first, the people don't think my stories are true, but when they see the pictures, they really start to believe it. Soti went on to say, I have to tell you the story about Sri Liap. This 15-year-old girl is from a very poor family. They can't afford to send her to school. So when I met her, she couldn't read or write. But when she saw us reading the Bible, she said, I want to read that wonderful book too. So I said, come, let me teach you. I opened up the Bible and I'd have her repeat a phrase, but it was hard for her. When I took the Disciples of Jesus lessons paragraph by paragraph, they were simple enough that she could do it. First I prayed for her and then I taught her how to pray. In 3 months, she could read. Not perfectly, but pretty well. Now she's reading from the Bible. What's funny, he said, is that she was carrying the book around and somebody said to her, what are you doing with that book? You can't read. She smiled and said, yes, I can. Let me show you. Now her friends want to learn how to read too. About 8 other children come with her to learn. She knows how to teach using these lessons, and she is doing it herself. That's why we made them, so adults and children could disciple others, and they disciple others. We wanted something simple enough, but comprehensive enough that anybody could teach and pass it on so that others could become disciples of Christ. Even people who cannot read or write can use these because they just learn the stories and tell them well, and then ask 3 important questions. What does this story teach me about the character of Jesus? 2, what does it teach me about how a true disciple of Jesus should live? And 3, what promises are there that God will help me to be that kind of special person? I am so thrilled to see it happening. Discipling, even from child to child. What about church planter Soti? He said, this book should be flying everywhere. I have only 1. I want 10 more books. That's what Jesus asked us all to do. Go, therefore, into all the world and make disciples. He's calling you to tell his stories wherever you live right now. He's asking you to watch for struggling people like that fighting couple, that 20-year-old fruit seller. He wants you to take young people like that 15-year-old girl, Sri Liap, with you and train them up to reach out and share Jesus. You can also get behind church planters and literacy teachers like Soti. It takes about $160 in Cambodia per month to support a man like him. If you'd like to do that, just contact us and we'll give a name and a wonderful profile of that special person. If you want to just give a lump sum, that will help us cover the many who are not yet sponsored. Most of all, pray, pray, pray for God to raise up more laborers for the harvest in Cambodia, in Southeast Asia, right where you are and to the ends of the earth. It's going to happen. God is going to finish his work. So let's join him. Together, let's reach the world ASAP.